Hey guys, thanks for listening to Coffee with Christ. If you haven't subscribed, hit the button below. Okay guys, let's get a little honest today. So I bought these things behind me. I thought, well, this will be cute because I've got this new office space to do this, and these are all like coffee and Jesus signs, and I just loved them. So I hung them up, and at first it's like then they were mirroring and you couldn't read them. Well, now you can read them because I flipped it, the message. But it makes my face droop down more. Now, anybody who knows me knows like my face is a little crooked. Like it does kind of droop. These are unedited, guys. My face does this. I can't help it. God made me that way. But I'm telling you, when I change the setting, it makes it worse. So I had so much dilemma. I'm like, do I have the signs just backwards so that nobody can read them? Or do I have a droopy face? Well, I went with the droopy face today. So welcome to my life. It might change tomorrow. I don't know, but I got to jump in because the word today is go before the king. So I woke up this morning and was studying Esther. I love Esther. And so there's some key players in Esther: Mordecai, Haman, Esther, King Xerxes. Don't know if I pronounced those right, but you know what? There it is. So Mordecai was the adopted younger cousin who raised Esther. Haman was the most powerful official of the time in the empire. But you know what? Mordecai wouldn't bow down to Haman. And so therefore Haman wanted to then kill Mordecai. And he found out that he was Jewish, so he wanted to kill every Jewish person. And he put out a decree to do that. And so then there's Esther. So King Xerxes' first wife wouldn't come before him, so she was like basically dethroned, and Esther made it. Esther went through the process, and Esther was chosen to be queen. Esther was Jewish, and so it's a total crazy story. It's great. One of the most famous verses out of it I want to read to you, and that's Esther 4:13 and 14. It says, Mordecai sent this reply to Esther: don't think for a moment that because you're in the palace, you will escape when all other Jews are killed. If you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arise from some other place. But you and your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you were made for queen for such a time as this. And so it's probably, I would say, one of the most famous verses out of the book of Esther. I love it. And so we think, what can we learn? What can we learn from the story? Because throughout the whole story, I encourage you to go read it. God is in the middle of all these natural circumstances. Because like the pole that Haman created to basically impale Mordecai was the same pole that eventually King Xerxes, when he found out, when Esther did go before the king, when he found out, it was the same pole that Haman ended up dying on. I mean, there's so much irony and cool stuff in this story. And it's no coincidence that these things happen. God was in the natural circumstances of the book of Esther. That is the same today. So how can we be inspired by this ancient account? I think we need to be inspired, and the encouragement is, let's go before the king. Who's our king? King Jesus, the King of Kings. If Esther going before the king moved him to save a nation, the Jewish people, how much more will the King of Kings move on our behalf when we go before him? We don't have to be afraid. We can go boldly to our King Jesus on behalf of a nation, on behalf of a people. And so that's the one encouragement that we need to get from the book of Esther, I believe. And so I also wanted to just touch on real quick that the king's decree that saved the Jews came about, that whole thing that saved the whole nation came about because Mordecai refused to bow down. He refused to bow down to Haman. Haman was prideful, and he's like, you're going to bow to me because I'm the highest official in this empire. And Mordecai refused. And when he refused, he was beat, and it set some things into motion where he needed to go to Esther and be like, hey, we need to fast. We need to pray. You need to go before and ask on our behalf. But if Mordecai would have just went along with it, Who knows? Haman may have been able to kill the whole Jewish people. So Mordecai refused to bow down to any person. And so we need to refuse to bow down to anything besides Christ himself and the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so those are two encouragements for everyone today, two encouragements that I got from it this morning. I'm praying for you. I hope you loved my video where I'm like, whoop, because I know it looks like that. But look at my signs. They're so cute. Have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.